We welcome you to Eagles Postgame Live, presented by our friends at Cure Auto Insurance. We're taking you to 1 o'clock. We're dissecting and disseminating this terrible loss. The Philadelphia Eagles, 23-17 losers to the Seattle Seahawks. And that's 6-0 is Russell Wilson against the Eagles now in his career. And the Birds fall to 3-7-1. As Jalen Hurts, not much of him, and we had speculated, it had been speculated that he would be used more or less. Doug Pederson walking off the field. The coaching job he did tonight was abysmal, in particular, failing to go for the field goal when he had the opportunity, and then he would have been going for a tie when they had on the 4th and 31, they had to turn it over. Defensive line, Fletcher Cox playing pretty good. But
Absolutely.
It was not enough.
Yeah.
Barrett Brooks is here, and Ray Didinger is here, and Seth Joyner is here as the team walks off the field. And Barrett, when you look at this, they lose their 3rd straight game, the Eagles, 3-7-1 record. But really, it's the way they go out. And we were talking about a Paul Domowitch post pregame about Doug Pederson saying he wouldn't be totally unhappy if he ends up getting fired.
Well, I mean, this is one of those games.
Well,
I mean, you know,
Carson Wentz, he was terrible again.
He tried to coach his way through it. It seemed like that, you know, this team RSVP for the party, but only the defense showed up on time. I mean, eventually the offense came to the party, but, you know, you can't have an offense as stagnant as they were the first 3 drives. They didn't have a first down in the first 4 or 5 series of the game. They were 3 and out the entire time. The defense played more in the first half than they probably did in any other game. But it still doesn't take away from their effort in trying to win this game. Defense, I applaud you. I take my hat off to you. I mean, DK Metcalf is a beast. You know, he's a monster. You know, he played all the way up to expectations we thought he was going to do. They were fighting, trying to get with him. But at the end of the day, I need more from Carson. I need more from this offense. I need to see them go out there and leave an impression on the game. I have yet to see this team play a full game worth of time. They just haven't. They haven't come to the party. They haven't been out there for an entire game and played together. So until we see that, this team will continue to take these hot L's they've been giving out for the past year.
Yeah, Ray, when you look at this one, going over your notes, we're going to get to Seth as well. We will also hear from Carson Wentz. We will hear from Doug Pederson and get his thoughts on why he did not attempt a field goal there. Even with Jake Elliott being off, as he has been over the past several weeks, he's still been a real good kicker for you. Why you would not go for the field goal there instead of going for it on 4th down, we hopefully will have an explanation from Doug Pederson. Ray, where did this one go bad, and don't say right from the start? Although it was 4 and change into the second quarter before the Eagles got a first down in this game.
No, you absolutely could say right from the start. I mean, 5 straight possessions without a first down, yeah, that's pretty bad right from the start. I look at this team, and they are broken in so many ways. You almost don't know where to start. The blame goes across the board. As we were saying at halftime, they're poorly coached, but a lot of it's on the players. A lot of it is on the players. You have receivers, and boy, this is the thing that jumped out at me. I mean, there are a lot of things we'll have a chance to talk about here, but the thing that jumped out at me was you're going up against a secondary in the NFL that can't cover anybody. Okay? I mean, they were on pace to give up more passing yards than any defense in the history of the NFL. They were on pace to do that. They were giving up 350 yards a game. They couldn't cover anybody. When you got the top shots of this game and you were watching the down the field, when you could see the down the field play, do you see anybody open?
No.
You have a bunch of receivers who could not get open against the worst secondary in football. So what's that tell you about your receivers? And the other part of it was on the occasion when they did scheme a play that a receiver did get open, the quarterback couldn't hit him. There were a couple plays that actually were pretty good calls where they got the tight end lined up with the kind of coverage they really wanted, which was the tight end on a linebacker where they could get deep down the seam, and he had a couple steps on the defender, Wentz underthrew it, and the ball got broken up. Offensively, they're just not very good. The one thing that, and we've said this before multiple times on this show, is they function far better when they're moving up tempo. I mean, the only times that they've seemed to be able to get any kind of a rhythm and any kind of a flow going offensively is when they go at a fast pace. And again, that happened tonight. They go 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out, 3 and out. And then they finally get the ball back one time. They start moving at a faster pace, and they take the ball right down the field again. And this isn't a one-time thing. I mean, we've seen this all year. They move much better when they're moving fast. But yet you have a team that chronically starts slow every week. They can't generate any kind of offense, much less score any points in the first quarter, but they don't do it.
Yeah.
I mean, when the evidence is there, week after week after week, that this team is a much better offensive team when they're moving quicker, but yet week after week you say, we got to start fast this week. Well, why don't you? I mean, that's on the coaches. So, as I said, there's a lot to assess here. A lot of it is on the coaching, especially on the offensive side, which I think is very poor. But on the other side of it, it's where the players are. It's the players' shortfall. It's receivers who can't beat pretty soft coverage. It's a quarterback who can't hit guys when they get open. And you have an offensive line that can't protect. So while the focus is going to be on Wentz and what he didn't do tonight, and he didn't do a lot, you have to look at the guys who weren't getting open, and you have to look at the lack of protection and how much pressure he was under, and understand that this was really, to me, a total offensive breakdown. It wasn't purely about the quarterback. Some people will try to make it about the quarterback, but this was really a breakdown at all levels of your offense.
Yeah, it was about the coach and the coach's failure to call the right plays, and as you said, the failure to get things going from jump, and knowing that and still doing it the way he had done it the week before. What did Joe Banner say? The definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
Right.
They're doing that same thing over and over again, expecting a different result. And that, to me, that's just arrogance. You're not doing it right, and you're still doing it because you think it's the best way, and it's proven. We all see that it's not. Let's get to Seth Joyner. And Seth, Ray says it's not about Carson Wentz. He was 25 of 45, 215 yards, 2 touchdowns, a pick, passer rating of 73.8. We can get to Wentz later, but when you look at the game plan, and in particular the failure to kick that field goal, and I understand they got extra points, Seattle at the end, so it really looked like, wow, the field, what the difference was it going to make? But, you know, it's when you get the points and how the tone of the game has changed at that particular time, and he did not go for it there. But what did you see from this one?
No, you are at that point in time 11 points down. You kick the field goal. The defense did stop him on the next possession.
Yep.
And now you got the ball back. You know, I'm sorry. Doug Pederson coached this game like he wants to be fired. You know, when you watch the decisions that he made tonight, the 2 go for it on 4th downs, 4th and 4, you know, I mean, if you just don't go for it on 4th down, you know, you prevent 1 field goal and you get yourself another field goal. You understand what I'm saying? So now the whole tenor of the game changes, you know, and he just consistently is hell-bent on just throwing. Now, I realize that they weren't running the ball very effectively at all, but you just can't abandon it and put your quarterback in a position where the defense is pinning back their ears and they're coming after you. You know, listen, I like what Carson was doing at the end of the first half. He made a decision that I'm not going to stand back here and take this beating anymore. I'm going to escape, and I'm going to scramble and use my legs. I wish he would have continued to do that. But when you watch this game, there was no adjustments. Every single time that Jamal Adams lined up down around the line of scrimmage, okay, Carson Wentz should have checked to a quick slant, one side or the other, okay? At the other end of the spectrum, we talk about the wide receivers, and you're 100% correct. And I'm inclined to believe that the poor play by the wide receiver falls on Doug, because we've been through 3 wide receiver coaches since Doug has been here now. This is the 3rd one. And when I posted something on Twitter, you know, for my Twitter followers to consider, there's a reason why these wide receivers never get separation and never get open, because when they get jammed at the line of scrimmage, and teams have seen on the film that they can jam these wide receivers at the line of scrimmage, they just try to run through the jam rather than using their hands and fighting. There's no rule that says that you can't use your hands and beat the DB off of you and fight for the space that you want. But they just try to run routes through the jam, and it throws off the timing, and they're never open because they can't get separation because they don't fight at the line of scrimmage. Okay? Gotcha. So if you don't do that, how, there's no stem at the top of the routes. There's none of the elementary things, that you learn at the high school level and at the college level as far as route running is concerned. So when I don't see that, and you've gone through 3 different wide receiver coaches, that tells me that the scheme says this is the way that we run routes, and this is how we're going to do it with no regard for how the defense is going to play you and how you're going to, get separation. Some of the decisions by Doug was just appalling. And to throw the ball 40-something times tonight. Well,
actually, it says 45. And then he was sacked 6 times.
51.
That's 52. And he ran for 5. That's 57, if you count those. So I would say 57 called passes, and they ran the ball 14 times, minus those 5. 9 times by running backs did they run. Sanders ran it 6, Scott 2, Clement 1. That's it.